tuned into On Air with your host, Clavette.
What's up? We are here on air, presented by Stereopunks. I am Clavette, and today's guest is the Mike B. What up, dude? How are you, man?
What's up, my brother? How you feel?
I'm feeling good, man. I am excited to talk to you. I feel like every time we chat and we see each other out and about in this concrete jungle, we always get...
man, you're a busy man.
That's right. But I always feel like we always end on this, like, nostalgia trip, this French electro kind of thing. You have so many great stories. I don't know if we have time for all of them, but I do want to kind of get into the background a little bit, because I do know you really from, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago on. And I know, you know, I've been diving deep into sort of your history in LA and just who you are. So, I mean, like, tell me a little bit about, like, how you got to LA. Are you born and raised here? You know, how did you get into DJing?
Born and raised in Los Angeles, born in West Hollywood, grew up in Beverly Hills, 90210. Went to high school in Ojai, California, and then I went to NYU Film School and quit after 2 years to work at a record label, recording studio, and then became a full-time DJ.
And was that sort of like, talk to me about sort of the beginning of that. Was there somebody who kind of got you into DJing was that in New York? Was that early on when you were living here?
No, I got into DJing in LA. I was collecting music for as long as I can remember. My dad and my godmother and people used to just, like, give me albums. I had 2 big brothers. And for as long as I remembered, I just had records and tapes and stuff in my room. And then I asked my dad if he could hire Kid and Play to perform at my birthday party. And he was like, "You're out of your mind." And I was like, "Well, what's the next best thing?" He's like, "I can hire a DJ." And I was like, "Rappers have DJs, do that." And then these guys showed up and they had, like, every cool record and they played music and me and my friends did our dances. And then I saw them get paid in cash and I was like, that's a job.
And off you went.
And then now it's 35 years later and it's, you know, it's a little more complicated, but it's still a job. I didn't know it was a viable adult, you know, profession, but here we are.
I love that. And so, like, I'm imagining you started sort of with hip hop. I know open format was, like, a big part of your career and still is.
Well, that was the only way to, like, I don't know, like, underground dance music became really exciting to me in, like, the mid 90s. I was always collecting, like, rap, R&B, house. That stuff always kind of all lived together. I grew up on, like, Power 106 and Groove Radio and stuff. And, I mean, I was always into, like, every kind of music. I just like good music of all kinds, but something about, like, the underground dance world seemed, like, out of reach. Like those guys seemed, like, too cool. Like, I didn't, like, speak their language, but that's probably because I was, like, you know, candy flipping whenever I was around them. So, but, you know, when I think, like, what really bridged the gap for me was, like, in 96, 97, when Homework dropped and Armand Van Helden, Old School Junkies, Kenny Dope's Bucketheads album and all that stuff. And then, like, you know, Motor Bass, Super Discount, like, just that whole, like, it was all very hip hoppy. Like, they were making that stuff on SP 1200s. It was very sampley. There were beats. Like, it wasn't like, you know, I have reverence for, like, diva house and soaring pianos and everything, but, like, that was never, like, a sound I specialized in playing or like spoke directly to me, but just, like, funky drums and chopped up samples. And it was funny because there was, like, both sides of it. There was guys like Armand who were, like, such gifted house guys who wanted to do hip hop, and then there were, like, hip hop guys that secretly collected house. And but I would say, like, the Mongoloids guys were the guys that made it all make sense for me, because they were, you know, they wore, like, North Faces and dressed like rappers and sampled Wu-Tang Clan stuff, but it was, like, Daft Punk, Basement Jaxx, Junior Sanchez, Roger Sanchez, Armand, Masters at Work, Ian Pooley. I think Laid Back Luke was a part of it. But they were really like, they still are to me, like the nucleus of like everything that I really like about what you can do with house music and kind of cross genres a little bit.
Yeah. And I think like it's really interesting because like I've dived into that history a lot too. You know, like Atlantic during those years was just like paying these like incredible remix fees to these guys to basically like remix an R&B record, like those Joe Manda records and stuff like that. And it did seem like the scene in general was
the Aaliyah
connected.
The Aaliyah double pack. I forget which record it is, but it's like Junior Sanchez and Harry Romero have like 4 remixes on that, and Armand has like a drum and bass remix. I think it's "Are You That Somebody?"
Yeah.
But they had like the Nightbreed remixes, and and they're crazy. There's like Speed Garage ones and housey ones, and that was that was the record that changed it all for me. I don't think it was on. I think it was on Sony. It was the Tori Amos Professional Widow one, because they played that at all the raves, and I just thought it was like a funky ass house record about sucking dick, and then I sang it to the guy at the record store, and I was like, "What's the I want to bring it close to my lips? It's got to be big song." And he's like, "Tori Amos." I thought he was fucking with me. I thought he was being a dick. And then he handed me the record. It's got a big picture of her, and I was like, "That shit blew my mind." I was like, "You can actually do anything with remixing."
Yeah.
And that's when people tell me they don't know what to do for a remix. I'm always like, Armand Van Helden took a lesbian folk song and turned it into like a dance anthem about blowjobs. So don't tell me you can't figure something out.
Yeah, be creative. No, I mean, did you feel like at that time that outside of like the recording part of the industry, like that the scenes were sort of like gelling too? Like, would you see like people, like would hip hop crowds come out to these house nights at that time? Like, was it that synergized?
No, it was more the other way around.
Oh,
when I started DJing in New York, I was doing exclusively like predominantly black hip hop nights, like roughneck stuff, like guys in football jerseys, like a lot of cognac and blunts, and playing like MOP and stuff. There was like there was a small little like half hour of house records you could play, or like you kind of had to play, like Follow Me and Break for Love, Plastic Dreams, The Percolator. And then every year there would be another one. And like Stardust was one, obviously. Music Sounds Better With You. The Bucketheads, The Bomb. Armand Van Helden, You Don't Know Me. I would say even like Around the World. One More Time, if it was like a little more progressive. That wasn't like huge in like the like black hip hop clubs. But I wouldn't see so many hip hop dudes at house nights because they didn't like that stuff as much. It was really separate, and it wasn't like an internet culture. I just think there wasn't as much of an understanding of it. But the house guys were a lot from New Jersey. Like Armand was from Boston, guys from Chicago and stuff. But so they had more of an understanding. Like Armand and Todd Terry would always be at the hip hop nights that I played at like Club Cheetah and Club Envy in New York. And they would be, Armand would be in his like yellow bubble goose jacket, and I would want to talk to him about house and stuff, and he'd be like, chill, like don't. Like, I was like, I'm gonna play your record. He's like, nah, I don't want to hear that shit here. But the funny thing about that was I was a big fan of these guys, and they all loved the guys that I was working for. I was working for Stretch Armstrong. I did a lot of stuff with Lord Sear. And Lord Sear was on Armand's album. He did the beatboxing. They sampled him for all kinds of stuff. And he came to my house. He was digging through my records. He's like, why? Like, he's like, you have all these like Junior Sanchez records and Harry Romero records. He's like, you like these guys? Like, you buy these records? I was like, yeah, they're my favorite. He's like, these are the guys that like are always want to be around us. And like, there was a weird like. It was fun. It was an inverse situation for me, which was why ultimately when we all figured out, what each other were doing, like we all got along and like, exist in both the worlds. But
Yeah.
Junior
So that-
always, well, Junior Sanchez has been since the early 2000s, and to this day remains to be one of my strongest allies in making music, putting out music, talking about music, doing cross genre stuff, and just him being the youngest person of that crew. He really, I feel like he has just a better understanding of like what's happening, and he's just always been my like, I don't know, but my most credible link to everything, and we still do a lot of stuff together. And his just kind of because he was young and appreciated it so much, he really remembers everything. And if you hear his stories about Daft Punk and Ian Pooley and Basement Jaxx, like it's nuts. Like he did the vocal for "Where's Your Head At?"
Yep.
Like that's crazy.
I was just about to go there.
Yeah, stuff like just weird like little facts like that. He's like that's my voice, and I'm just like, what, dude? But that whole crew, it only existed very shortly, and like I think there was only one official Mongoloids release, which was just an Armand Van Helden track on Strictly Rhythm, and then there was remix that said like Mongo remix and this and that. It was kind of that like speed garage style, but like sampley stuff. But it was so impactful that I don't know. It's just like sometimes there's just like a perfect moment, and like even like 9 months of someone's career can like dictate like the next like 2 decades of what people do.
Yeah, it's
and I think that and they influenced the Daft Punk guys so much because they were even younger and French, and young French people in the 90s and honestly even now are like so seduced by like any like big city hip hop like tough guy like credibility stuff. So they were really like highly informed by what those guys were doing, but then obviously like blasted off into their own orbit.
Yeah.
But if you look at what they did, they paid respects. They shouted out all those guys on those records. They had them all do remixes, and then they have Sneak, they have Romanthony, they have.
They have a record called Teachers where they just blast like all of their influences. Teachers is crazy, right? Like the ultimate homage, if you will.
And it's funny back then too, because I feel like people don't do that as much now. Like everybody wants to talk about how inspired they are by like things from 30 years ago that I suspect a lot of them didn't know about until last week. But back then, like hip hop and house was moving so fast that like if you came out in 96, you had to shout out everyone who came out in 94 and 95 because that's what inspired you.
Interesting.
And the music just moved really fast. If you listen to Teachers, like half of the people that they shout out are people who had only put out records in like 4 years prior.
Yeah. And the whole scene
because
was
all those guys were
quick.
so young. So like, the difference between being like 18 and being 22 at that point was the difference between being a vet and it's really crazy. It's just time moved slower back then, I guess, because we were bored more. We're never bored anymore.
Yeah. And I guess more face to face. You didn't really have like this crazy digital world where everybody's talking and nobody's going out.
Yeah, you had to get on trains and look at nothing for 2 hours to get like where you were going. So when you got to the studio, you had to like, it's like, yo, like we got this studio, let's do some shit.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, all right, cool, we got a loop, like text it to me, I'll work on it at my place and like we'll put it out in 3 years.
Well, it's like, I'm sure also you're just paying attention to the world more. I'm sure so many ideas came from those subway rides where you're like, you get to the studio, dude, I got a hook, man. You can't imagine what I just heard.
Sure.
This conversation on the subway, right? Like,
I mean, just being present.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Like, there's no more boredom. Like anytime no one is talking directly to me, I can like find out where a sample came from, look at like all of the world's greatest butts and like, see like the greatest pieces of comedy all like cut up just the way I like, you used to have to just sit and like settle for maybe there was like an old magazine around or something, or like you would read like ads and stuff. Yeah, I really do believe that the like never being bored and just constantly being plugged in and connected to everything. I think it's a great thing because I'm so in touch with people all around the world, and the information moves really fast, but it has taken away from why that stuff was so special.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why those anthems are still anthems. Like if you think about, most of the biggest records that hit the hardest still are things that came out before you could DJ with digital music.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Because you paid $20 to play something and you played it forever. Like anything from like Too Short, Blow the Whistle, still being one of the biggest rap records to, Music Sounds Better With You being one of the biggest house records. It's just, there's no physical connection to it. Like there's no artwork. You didn't pay a lot for it. You're not carrying it around. So how do you remember it? Like half the time when I try to like find old songs that I used to play, I have to go and listen to old live mixes and Shazam them because there's no connection to it. And I have a great memory for facts and records and stuff like that, but all I knew about those songs was like what folder they were in and what like the first three letters,
Yeah. Muscle memory.
It's weird. It's hard to do it. And now across so many platforms and Spotify, and I still try to use iTunes, which Apple doesn't want me to do, and they keep making that difficult. And then I try to do Record Box, and then things like that. It just used to be like you buy the song, you play the song, bring the song home, bring it somewhere else the next day.
It does feel like,
and I think
digging.
that's why those songs were forever classic.
Yeah. It does feel like digging has become much more tedious, where it's like you have to manage folder systems just so you can find stuff. I mean, what is digging like for you look like today? Like, how do you, you kind of mentioned you go through some of these old mixes. Like, is there anything else you're doing that makes you feel like, hey, I'm actually digging to the true like ethos of the back then?
If I'm not looking for something brand new, like I listen to promos. I receive way too many because I don't unsubscribe from anything because I don't want to miss out on stuff. But I probably should have started unsubscribing from stuff like 10 years ago. 'Cause it's a little hard to go through it all, but I try, and I always find a couple cool things. I'll still go on Beatport and Track Source here and there. If I'm not looking for something brand new, I mostly dig in my own hard drives because over the years, I try to avoid when people are like, here, just take like this 100 gigs of, flax of every song ever released between this year and that year. I'm like, I'm not going to go through this because I don't like doing stuff. But so like when I'm like, oh, that's a cool old song from 2001 that I never heard. I was like, I bet I have it because I have 100,000 songs that I don't know what they are, and I just have a stack of hard drives, which is cool. But then I don't know. There's something weird about it. You used to have to make a choice. Like, right. I only have $50, but I want $80 worth of records. So like, which are the 5 that I need? Now it's just like, yeah, just give me all 100 and we'll see like where it lands.
Do you feel like now there's like, I would imagine when you had those kind of restraints, like you were looking for set defining records for your sets. Like, do you still feel like that's, I mean, what is that kind of the way it was back then? Like you would try and find a record you would play for years, or was it more?
Yeah, but also it was more of an even playing field where there were very few records that were a secret if you were playing in places that had a lot of people in them.
Right.
It was about what you could do with those records. Like whether it was hip hop or house, a little bit less because it's a little more, I think, there's more personality in people's sets, like if there's a song that Derek Carter popularized, like Sneak's not going to play it. And it's like, that's Derek's song. And like I saw like a lot of that. Like I remember being like even a song by Sneak, like I was talking to Sneak about like Latin soul or something like that, and I was like, yeah, man, like I feel like I'd never hear you play that out. He's like, that's Doc's record, man. Like that, like Doc, like only Doc can play that. And I was like, but you made the song, But Doc had it on Unlock Your Mind, and it's an old school DJ kind of thinking. With hip hop, it was more like you have what you have, and how are you gonna play that same 100 songs and in what order without like biting someone else, which was really difficult.
That's cool.
You just have to like kind of put your own spin on it. Which the positive side of that in the digital age is that you can make your own edits and remixes of everything like the day of and bring it and not have to press, spend $1,000 to play it, which is great. We love that.
Yeah, that's sick. Well, this is a good segue then, because I think what I've been hearing is like the New York sort of influence on, all these different scenes. You come back to LA and you're kind of, you were talking about sort of like in hip hop is like what you could do with a record, right? And I'm just like immediately thinking of your time with DJ AM and, talk to me sort of like the
DJ
Banana
AM
Split stuff. Like, how does that all tie in here?
I mean, DJ AM is the greatest DJ, in my opinion, for a lot of reasons, because of what he did for the culture, the way he played, the person that he was, and the things that he gave people access to, and the way he opened up gates and got our rates up and carried like, the whole, every DJ on his back. A lot of people that were great and a lot of people that sucked. He loved a lot of people and he took good care of them. And he really, I mean, if you want to talk about taking chances and putting records together that in a way that no one else could. That's why he was so sharing with his, like when he got Serato and he was like, yeah, take everything. Cause he know that no one could do what he did with them. So he's like, go like figure it out, don't hurt yourself. But early on in our friendship in like 2001, I was hanging out at his house and he was like showing me some kind of scratch routine or something. And I was looking at his little stack of burned CDs and he had a Doc Martin flammable liquid thing. And I was like, what is this about? He's like, oh yeah, man. I found that on Napster. It's like a 91 recording of Doc Martin. And a lot of these hip hop guys, like it was kind of weird, like because of hip hop's sort of inherent homophobia and sort of the stigma of like house music being gay, not even a stigma. Like it was like, not gay in the homosexual sense, but people are just like, oh, that's gay. You like, house music, like it's 90s gay. Things were a little more simple back then. I don't even know where I was going with this, but Junior has a whole speech that he does about this on the Road podcast that is amazing, which is that house and hip hop do a lot come from the same place.
Right.
And if, you go back and you listen to the Jungle Brothers and Special Ed and De La Soul and Queen Latifah, they all had house records on their albums. They all had a club joint. And then when they had big singles, you would have the David Morales mixes and the MK remixes and stuff like that. And like those scenes kind of existed together because they were all also in the same clubs. You'd have a hip hop room and you'd have a house room and then you'd have like a, in between a room. Yeah. But coming back to LA and with AM, I mean, that was an exciting time. When I moved back in 2003, DFA was just getting going and like the Rapture, LCD Sound System and Chick and that kind of side of new dance rock was exciting. That was happening in New York. And here a little bit on Cahuenga, like Beauty Bar and stuff. And AM was just about to get, stomach surgery and become like the world's most famous DJ and go to Vegas. And then a year after that, in 2005, we got Serato. And then the year after that, a young Steve Aoki, who was, I assure you, not particularly nimble with vinyl, had Serato and access to the same files as AM. And, we couldn't have done Banana Split without Serato because it really made it like an even playing field. And it's what made those 45-minute sets possible. And you would have 4-hour nights with 6 DJs and everyone playing at like top energy the whole night. But we also didn't have good sound rigs. We had like JBL Eons, which is where you get that kind of like Bloghouse electro sound. Like you could play those, everything sounded like Crookers on those records, on those speakers, because we were redlining and sending out of like one small tweeter. Like if you were lucky, you had a sub, but people just reacted to like, the synth side of it more than like the low end
interesting
tones of it. Not like now where, tech house and stuff is what it is because like you get that sound design and you're playing on 100-foot tall subwoofers and, all you need is like a roof and everyone goes nuts. But that, Bloghouse sounded like chainsaws and that's why we all have tinnitus.
Well, tell
So
me,
thanks a
like,
lot,
did
Rivers.
I don't know if I've ever heard that take, which I think is so interesting. So, like, the French
Well, not a lot
electro
of people
thing.
were there.
What's that?
Not a lot of people were there.
I
on the other side of the turntables.
Yeah, but it is interesting because then, I mean, so '06 it starts. Then you have Simeon in '07 with Justice. Like, did that French electro? I heard you talking about this with DJ
Never
Spider.
Be Alone came out in 2005.
The Simeon remix.
It just, it didn't make it. It didn't become a hit in Los Angeles because the records were still like, Europe had not adapted Serato. Europe kind of never adapted Serato, other than Fatboy Slim and like Sinden. I can't even think of almost anyone who used Serato. The Ed Banger guys were CDs up until USBs. Like even if you watch Glenjamin's videos of like Mehdi playing in 2010 at WMC, or you watch Thomas Bangalter at Cinespace, like they're using CDs. They never really adopted Serato.
Interesting.
But yeah, Simeon, because that was it was a remix for a remix contest that they did.
Right.
And so it came out in 2005 as Never Be Alone, as one of like the first Ed Banger records, and then International DJ Gigolos licensed it, which was DJ Hell's label, and he did a remix. And then I believe there was like an Errol Alkin mashup of some kind that was making the rounds. I remember it was a thing like in 2006 when we started Banana Split, we were like trying to figure out like what is the right version of this that we were even supposed to play.
Right.
Because that music was traveling over very slowly, and I was paying a fortune for Ed Banger. Like, between the shipping and the taxes and everything, like I was paying like $35 a piece for the Ed Banger records to like get flown over here. And they would come out in France like months before too. I used to have a hack where I would in the beginning of iTunes, you could switch your country to France, and like the Waters of Nazareth gold cover with the DJ Funk remix and whatever else was on there, the Errol Alkin version of Waters of Nazareth, which is the one, came out like months and months before it was available in the US. And I actually figured out that if you bought yourself a iTunes gift card and changed your country, that it didn't know like who you were or where you were, and I could buy songs from French iTunes store, which that was my like old school DJ way of thinking. So which gave me like because I needed stuff that Steve and AM didn't have at Banana Split. So I'd be like, I have the DJ Funk remix of Justice. Like, how'd you get it? Like, I'll never tell.
I also discovered that hack, and it was life changing.
Oh, yeah, you do that one? Hell yeah, bro. It was a great one. And those podcasts that they were doing in France were crazy. Like there was one, I forget even what it was, but they were interviewing Busy P, and he kind of plays all of the songs that were cracking in 2006, and it was the first place I heard it, and he's speaking very like eloquently about what's happening, and like I think that's what makes Ed Banger and those guys really special, is that they were, I think, coming from, I don't want to put words in Pedro's mouth. He's a great man. Shout out to Pedro. But my impression was always that, the Daft Punk camp was so secretive, and it was all so close to the vest, that when he did Ed Banger, he wanted everything to be just like open and sharing, and like everyone had like very distinct personalities. And they made that little MySpace video, that like 10 minutes of like, people in tight jeans and leather jackets moshing and smoking and making out. And I feel like they showed us a blueprint of the aesthetic, so it's like, okay, cool. So like, this is what we do. We all like, we get out of the DJ booth. We did that at Banana Split. We would take the turntables out of the DJ booth and put them on the floor, and then we would bring in sound and put it on the floor, and get a keg of beer and put it on the floor. So it was like, there was just action. Like everything went from like, hey, get away from me, don't talk to the DJ, to like, no, like fucking spit on my face and let the Cobra Snake take a picture of it.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
which was way more fun because that's when everybody became friends.
Right.
And we stopped fighting for time.
And is that
I used to be like, I need to play 4 hours and everyone else can fuck off. And I was like, I'll just show you 30 minutes exactly what I can do.
Was that like, what's your earliest memory of like, cause I think I said this to you the last time I saw you. I was like, you are the French Connection here in LA with that whole scene. Like, what was your earliest memory of like those guys finally making like landfall in LA? Do you like, was it a banana split guys? Party or what was it? Yeah.
No, it was, Frankie Chan and Steve Aoki. Who were like going through a breakup at the time. I remember I was playing down the street the first time Cinespace had Uffy. And I almost like, there's nothing I love more than DJing, but I almost like called out of going because I just wanted to like see her and like see who else was going to be there and meet other people that were excited about that. And like see how much she actually looked like that, like drawing of like a, beautiful rainbow vixen on the vinyl that was like so phenomenal. And also, if you had told me that Kesha was gonna steal Uffy's rap style and become a huge pop star like a few years later, I would have called you crazy. But Kesha owes Uffy a lot of money.
Yep.
And shout out to Uffy. And she's still killing it. She's out here. She's a LA girl now. She lives down the street.
No way.
Yeah, she's awesome. And then I think Frankie and Steve were going through, like a dirty breakup at the time. And so I think Frankie was the first one who brought Justice out. I didn't see their very first show in LA, but I made a point to go to the second one. They did an in-store at Turntable Lab. There was maybe like 8 people there, and it was just them playing like a bunch of Ed Banger stuff. And I'll tell you my secret to being the French Connection. I speak fluent French because I went to a French school.
No way.
And it was something weird that I didn't use much in my life until like that day, because Justice didn't speak much English. And I had so many questions for them about how to distort bass and how to, what else was going to come out. And, because that sound was crazy. Like when I first heard that music, I was like, it's so good, but I thought it was like IDM. I was like, no one will ever dance to this. This is too crazy, this music.
Right.
And then it's just that you had to dance different. You couldn't do like funky, soulful house dances. You just would like jump up and down and go nuts and like pour beer on yourself, which is so much easier to do than the funky house dances. I still can't do the like spinning, I need like, 10 feet diameter house dances, like no matter how much I practice. But anybody can, do the Ed Banger dance, because we love that. And I went and saw, it was Justice and Mastercraft. I want to say it's Safari Sam's on Halloween. And it was like, what I saw them do that night, Justice more so than Mastercraft, was like what I would refer to in the years to come as hipster open format. Because they weren't really playing proper house music. They were playing their sound, and then they would also squeeze in like shouts out to all the other stuff that I liked in the 90s. Like they would play Fatboy Slim's remix of Renegade Master and like Tori Amos' Professional Widow, Armand remix. But then they would also play like Rage Against the Machine, and not like, oh my God, it's not like I love to hear Rage Against the Machine in the club, but it is your genre bending and you're expressing that, like you're not a purist. And that's always, I love a purist and I wish I could be one. And the purists are what make the music so special. But then, nothing interesting ever happened from doing things the same way as everyone else. And so I always like to be that fucker that like proves to people that, good music is good music.
Yeah. Like this record can live next to this one, and you're going to
dance.
No
doubt. I mean, as proven you probably remember when Trap happened in 2012 or so, and like everyone agreed that giant 808s and crispy claps sounded good everywhere and just hit. And, everyone from, if you listen to the Ed Banger, what was it? The 5-year compilation or Ed Banger Records Volume 2, the Riton record and the Mehdi record are trap records.
Yeah.
And you go see Riton play or Brodinski play, like they were playing. Like I seen Brodinski play Flosstradamus in 2012. I said, and Salva, and it was a really exciting time. And then I don't know what happened. Skrillex happened.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Skrillex. I love Skrillex, one of the most brilliant artists in the history of electronic music. But his music had such a broad appeal and he did so much different stuff that I feel like that's where like sort of the EDM, hand of death kind of sucks all the fun out of everything we were doing. It's a dark way of putting it because the checks got better and the parties got bigger and it's still awesome. But like, the things are always better, I think, in your 20s and 30s.
Yeah. I'm imagining that the sort of like intimacy of those early parties and sort of the beginning of that sound crossing over here was like an unmatched energy versus like, all right, now we're actually making like really solid money and like the crowds are getting bigger, but
sure.
It's not as intimate, right? Like
you're
performing a little more, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I DJ'd for 17 years before I ever had a green room or a dressing room or a fence in front of me or someone telling people they couldn't just come like pour drinks on me. And even then, sometimes I had to vacate by 3 p.m. and make room for the next day. That's how you learn to change your rider with each disappointment. You're like, oh, cool, I have a trailer, and then you finish your 1 p.m. set. And then you're like, I'm going to hang out at this festival all day. And then they're like, you have this trailer till 3. And then you update your rider and you say, I need a trailer for the duration of the festival. And a parking spot.
I love this. This is actually great because that, we'll get to this at the end, but that is the question from our past guests is in line with what you just described. So we'll bookmark that for the end.
Okay, we'll loop back to that.
Yeah,
but we want to get into French stuff, right? Because we're here to promote the Etienne show.
A little bit. I mean, this is definitely more of a conversation, and I think you were kind of touching on some stuff. Like, I think what I'm so enamored with that scene is like how LA sort of played into it, and like from your vantage point, what sort of gas was poured on that fire? Did the French was the French?
It was Steve Aoki and AM. These guys were celebrities. At the time, Steve was Devin's brother and Rocky's son more than he was Steve. And AM was Nicole Richie's boyfriend and on the cover of Us Weekly. And LAX was a club that they talked about on TMZ. And these guys, it's LA and they're French guys. So they loved NWA and they loved gangster rap culture and underground rap culture. Like if you look at Protect and Entertain, it's got Merce on it. Mm-hmm. LA deep underground MC, respect to Merce. But we didn't even know about that record because, and also Steve and Adam had the money to fly those guys out. Like they would go to New York because it's closer to Europe and play I think they would play what was that place called? Plan B or Studio B or something like that in New York. But it wasn't, they didn't have, New York is New York and it's great, but I don't think like the super sexy people were going to those shows as much. I can't really speak on it because I wasn't doing a lot of hipster stuff in New York until maybe like Santos Party House. We started doing like dim mak parties there, but in LA, we had Chad Muska at these parties, and we had the Cobra Snake and Corey Kennedy, and it was exciting what was going on here, and we had Danny M was there a lot. I guess we're not going to talk about him as much. Steve Aoki's best friend and DJ partner,
right?
But but it was I think the Hollywoodness of it excited them, as like those guys used to stay at the Magic Castle and they would go to Universal Studios. Breakbot and Irfan still go to Disneyland every time they come here. They're fucking Disney adults. Not even kidding. Like I told them like last time they were in town, they're like, what did you do last night? I was like, I played a holiday party for D23. And he's like, oh, D23? I was like, you know what that is? What is it? Because I didn't know. He's like, yeah. He's like, that's like the Soho House of Disney.
That's hilarious. So I booked
like
them on a Thursday night the last time. I think you were there. And they must have gone down to Anaheim that weekend.
I couldn't come. I was somewhere else that night, but it was you had them at night at
Kiss
you
Kiss
had
Bang
them
Bang
at 7 at the warehouse, right?
That was Kiss Kiss
17
Bang Bang, but yeah, usually
you had
they're
them
at 1720.
Bang Bang, and then you had them at 1720, right? I mean, those guys are just awesome, man.
Yeah.
The whole crew. I mean, I don't know all the Ed Banger guys. I know a lot of them. But like, you know, especially the early crew, you know, Busy P and Feeds and Justice and DJ Mehdi. I can't stress enough like what a special guy he was, and what like I don't think I've ever been around that much charisma, and I would definitely say he was one of my favorite people to see DJ. Like he had all that French sexiness, but he also had like a really strong hip hop swag, and he did not give a fuck because he had that something similar to what I had, which was just a knowledge of what it's like to play for a room of 100 people that will kill you if you do the wrong thing. And then like now you're just on ecstasy playing for a bunch of like happy ass sexy people, and like they don't even care if you DJ well, and they just want to hear like new exciting music. And I feel like he really leaned into that in a way that was beautiful to see.
Yeah, I think his legacy is something I will never forget the day I found out about his passing. But I think without him, like you don't have the blueprint for DJ Snake, right? Like I don't think you have a guy that is able to sort of like take those hip hop influences and cross over into these like pop stratospheres. Like it really was
not. I mean, no disrespect to DJ Snake, but I mean, he probably paved the way for DJs. I don't know enough about DJ Snake to call it. Like I feel like everything after the Bird Machine is white noise to me. But and no disrespect. I wish I had his work ethic, and I wish I knew how to make music that many people cared about. But whatever he was doing in the Yuma tent at Coachella was not what I would refer to as a vibe. Those are like people dancing in cages, and I don't know.
Well, we'll take it back to DJ Mehdi. I mean, talk about I
take it back to DJ.
I love his legacy and the Mehdi Forever stuff.
I was with him in Paris maybe 2-3 weeks before he passed, and I'm happy to say that we shared no regrets, man. Like I was in Paris for a week. He and I and Brodinski did a hip hop night at Social Club, and like we closed the doors, and it was like we played for like 30 people till like 6 a.m, and we were like, just like getting it. Everyone was just like sweaty. I mean, I got videos of this stuff, but it's not anything I could ever share really publicly. But like, I will say that Mehdi was an incredible just ball of positive energy and like real actual love of music and understanding of where he came from, and he was always putting people in their place. He knew where he stood. Like all those guys were very aware. When I would go out to France, you would see the hierarchy, which was really cool, which is how it should be. Like I think we have a thing here where, you look at our lineups a lot of the times, we got people. I'm not just saying that because someone's been doing it for 40 years, they should be at the top of the lineup. But, when you've got people that came out last year, playing at 9 p.m. and then you've got, people that are still, I don't even know what I'm trailing off here. We'll take that part out.
I get you. I'll pick it up because I've had this conversation recently where it's like in the US, it is interesting because like I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine. There was a lineup that came out. I'm not going to name any of these artists, obviously, but like there was a lineup came out. There was a sort of more like old school guy, friend of yours probably, who was right underneath the headliner, and some upcoming talent that was right below. And my buddy was like, it's interesting how they build this. And I was like, well, this artist is iconic.
What was it? Let's go.
Well, it was Teed. It was the Gorgon City Realm lineup that just announced. And it was like Teed and like M High going back to back. And then like Linska and Jackie Hollander. And like
I know one of those names.
You know Teed.
I know what one of those things is.
Exactly. And
Teed
that's why
man,
Teed was like billed right under Gorgon, because there's an understanding and respect there, right? And so I think like
right. But Gorgon is big, right? I mean, I know who Gorgon is.
Right.
I mean, I opened for them at the Exchange, but must have been like 2013. And I mean, Teed isn't maybe, they weren't around much longer than him, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think when he went from Gorgon came out in like 2012, right? Because FOMO like ended in 2010-ish time period. Like,
wait, Gorgon City is FOMO?
Yeah. Kai
Before
was FOMO.
was a term, like FOAMO.
FOAMO. Remember him? He had some records.
The fidget, like kind of like night bassy stuff.
Yeah, and
right?
then the other guy,
like Trouble. It was like Trouble in bass music.
Yeah.
It was like post fidget. Yeah.
Yep.
That's Gorgon City?
That's Kai from Gorgon City, yeah.
No disrespect to Gorgon City, but I wish they still had that edge that FOMO had. I played a lot of FOMO records.
There's this record, and I find it, I lose it every like year, and then I have to go re-find it, but it's this fidget remix. I can't even remember what the artist is, but it's Gold Dust. It's a fidget remix of Gold Dust by Flux Pavilion, and it is this amazing fidget record that I'll bust out every so often, and like now I'm gonna have to go look for it because I can't remember.
Sound, that gets kind of looped into the Bloghouse thing, and then by the time fidget has a name, it gets like a little bit annoying, and then it turns into like Gypsy House. And I can say that because I was signed to play it down, but like, honestly, one of my favorite fidget records it's like, I don't know why it took 4 guys to make it, but it's like Steve Angelo and Laidback Luke and Axwell or something. It's like the New Jack remix. You remember that one? It was like don't stop, yeah, don't stop, yeah, like, and it was them trying to do like Switch, Solid Groove.
Well, everybody tried to do Switch.
Is people trying to replicate Solid Groove. I literally have his drum bus and his drum pack, and I can't replicate it. Like, it's, you can have, Picasso's paintbrush and still paint like Hitler.
What's really interesting? A-Track did a little video on fidget, and it was him talking about like how Claptone came from that scene, and like Friend Within was, Trey Mortimer.
Did he reveal
and
who
like
Claptone was? That's because that's still not public knowledge as far as I know, right?
He kind of, he said it was that guy started with an M. I can't even remember now, but it was.
Did he say it out loud on Instagram?
He did.
Yeah, it's Malente.
Yeah.
Yeah, Malente is the man. I mean, because I saw him at Coachella the first year Claptone played, and I was like, oh, I knew him from like Amsterdam, and he did a record with Small Town DJs, who are my guys, and he played at Cinespace a couple times. Malente is the man. And when that first Claptone EP came out with like Cream and that stuff, like I was like, this record is 3 for 3. Like, I had a set that week where I probably played all 3 of those songs, and I saw him. I was like, yo, what are you doing at Coachella? And he was just like, yeah, I'm playing. He was very like kind of cagey about it.
Yeah.
But then I ran into Small Town guys, and they were like, yeah, like he's Claptone, but like don't tell anyone. And as far like a couple years ago, I think that was still the deal. But I guess now, is it actually true? Do we know? Is it confirmed that like they like other people put on the mask and play Claptone sets? Is that a real thing?
I can't confirm nor deny. I do not know, but all I know is that,
I mean, not only do I not know, but I don't care, and I hope that they do. I mean, Electric Fields is doing 6 shows this weekend.
Yeah.
So,
get that bag if you need it.
Having an identity that is not, beholden to your face is awesome. I'm shocked that Daft Punk, didn't just sit home.
They might have. We don't know. We'll never know.
No, that was them, man. Trust me, I'm such a fan that I can tell by like the width of their shoulders.
I am too, my friend. I've got all these. Do you know Jonathan Nunez? He gave me these like little pins that his buddy made. I don't know.
Of course, man. I got them right here on my desk too. Shout out to Pintalica.
Yeah, man. There they are.
Here we go.
Yeah, nice. I've got the
he gave me for my birthday last year. He gave me a box of like 40 pins, and it just like they're all so fucking cool.
Yeah, He's really talented.
Like I know him through Jose Lobo, man. Those guys are the real fucking fans, dude.
Yep.
Like they make their own jackets. Like they're punk rock about this shit.
Yep.
And they spend all their money to come up and go to shows. And, I mean, I'll be honest, when I first met them, I was terrified of them. Because I was just like, you never know, like when, the difference between like the coolest fan in the world and someone that's going to stab you because they love you is, you never know. But those guys, man, those are real music fans, man. And they spend all of their free time supporting the artists that they love and being the places where music is happening. And like, I'm always really happy when I see those guys.
Yeah. It's a real treat.
And shout out to Pintalica. And you can tell by those pins, man, like the love that they make those with. That shout out to Jose Lobo, who flew out to London for the Ed Banger 20. He went from a guy who just wanted to be in the same vicinity as Busy P to being someone who, he had backstage at the Hollywood Bowl for Justice. He got into those parties. I wasn't even in town. I was in Hawaii, and half of Los Angeles was texting me to try to get into the after party. Even the Hollywood Bowl. I was like, you guys know the Hollywood Bowl is not a fucking club, right? There's no list. Like, hey man, you got hookups for Justice? Like, even if I was there, what do you want me to do? Come to the door of the Hollywood Bowl? Figure it out, guys.
Yeah, there's not a DJ booth.
You're a promoter, you know how it is. Also, sometimes I tell people like, how do you think we make money, man? Like, support your friends. Do you not have $20? Like, our tip for parties aren't that expensive.
No, I'm a generous guest list person. I probably shouldn't say that. But it comes with sort of support, right? Like if I see you at my parties,
who deserves it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's almost like a reward program. It's like if I see you at a few of my parties and you hit me up and you're like, hey man, what about guest list this time? Or like, hey, I'm a little short on cash. Yeah, got you, bro. You've been to like 6 of my parties.
Do you deserve it? And
yeah,
and then there's the layers too. There's guest list, and then there's AA, and then there's like drink tickets, and it's like, okay, like where does it stop? It's like, okay, you can come in because you support. And it's like maybe the club is taking the door, but it's like you got to buy these drinks. Like, don't drink the artist drinks. Also, I'll tell people, this is a rule, my friends. If it's after 4 p.m. and it's the day of the event, don't send that text. If you really want to go so bad that you want us to stop, trying to milk every possibility out of every precious minute before the show starts and make sure everything goes right, don't text us and ask us to stop what we're doing and spend $20 to come to the show that you want to go to so bad.
Yeah, and I'll just
but
put a bow
on it. If you want to
it.
go so bad and you know about it on Monday or 2 weeks before, be the first person to ask. Whoever, like when I post a flyer of something that's happening in 3 weeks and someone goes, oh man, I wish I could come, times are tight, whatever, I already bought tickets to something else. I'm like, I got you. You're the first responder. Like, you're good. And then my best friends who can come everywhere, they know who they are.
Yep.
And the people that don't get their text responded to, accept what's happening.
Learn. Like, there's a lesson there. There's a lesson there.
When the last text is, can I get in, and it's unresponded to, don't send it again.
Do you turn on read receipts for those people to like really cement the lesson?
Absolutely not. Because those people who send the inappropriate text are also people that'll say things like, I texted you. I do worse than a read receipt. I just go, I know. That's the beautiful thing about texting. You don't have to respond. I have a rule. If I don't like the text, I'm not going to answer it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If I'm just like, why the fuck would you say that to me? Just let it sit there.
Yep. You're saying something without saying anything, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to, it's not passive aggressively, but just like, I don't know. What do you want me to say to that? You want me to be a dick, or you want me to just kind of like pretend like I didn't see it?
I love it. It's
anyway.
The rules. Well, okay, we're gonna wrap this up.
Eccentricities aside, let's talk like real French,
Well, I got a game for us to play here, my friend. I have a little this or that. You ready for this? So I've picked out 8 what I would consider 8 sort of like Ed Banger classics or sort of in that realm, right? I guess, yeah, almost all of these are Ed Banger records. We're just gonna put up 2 against, we're gonna put one up against each other.
Let's see what we got here. I'll just bring the whole stash out.
You bringing the stash? Maybe you'll bring them out and we can just use your images and I don't have to add images later. There we go.
What we got here? Okay. We have them all right there. Ed Banger records kick ass. We all know that if you line up the first 5, that they say that on the side.
I didn't know that actually. That's insane.
Really?
I did not know that. Check it out, man. So that's Simeon, Waters of Nazareth, and then
Ed Banger
Vicarious
records
Bliss, right?
kick
Wasn't that one of the first ones?
You got Mr. Flash.
Mr. Flash.
Radar Rider. You got Never Be Alone, Ed Banger edition. Crazy Bald Head. Yep. Justice Waters of Nazareth. And then that's what spells Ed Banger records. Actually, I think the Uffy Pop the Glock is in my crate of stuff I was playing last week, and that goes in there somewhere.
You're right. All right. Well, so this is how we're gonna do it. I'm gonna give you 2 records. You're just gonna pick one. That record you pick goes on and battles the next record. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. We're gonna do Ross by Sebastian and Pop the Glock by Uffy. Who you picking?
That is a tough call because I'll tell you. Well, no, Ross is right here. The Uffy record is in my crate. What am I picking?
You just got to pick one of these.
Of the whole EP or the song Ross.
I would say, yeah, we're just gonna consider these one. So you're gonna pick either Ross or Pop the Glock, and then I'm gonna pick another record, and it's gonna face off what you pick.
They're such different, important records. Like Ross is, I forget whether it was Rub and Tug or DJ Harvey, but when it came out, I was at a Sarcastic Disco party, and one of them played Walkman.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's like the trap thing I was saying. Like when something is just so cool that it doesn't even fit with what someone's doing, but they're like, I gotta play this shit. But like Uffy Pop the Glock, like goddamn, you know what I mean? Like I feel like she was like the Debbie Gibson of Bloghouse, man. You know?
Who are you picking?
Who am I picking? God damn. I've said everything I have to say about Ross. I'm gonna pick Uffy Pop the Glock.
I love it. Okay. We've got now Pop the Glock by Uffy going up against Lucky Boy by DJ Mehdi.
You're talking about a song versus an album?
We can go, what is that album? Or what is that EP? We can go with the EP for that.
You're breaking my brain here. I mean, obviously, you know, rest in power, my guy. DJ Mehdi, you know, if you're on a desert island, do you want a full-length album or do you want Pop the Glock? But, you know, keeping it real on some DJ shit, there's nothing other than the Signatune Thomas Bangalter edit that I can play. But if you want to, you can put this on at afters and it's got vibes. It's innovative. It's a really fucking cool album and it's DJ Mehdi and the artwork is just like, you know, iconic.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to So Me.
So you're going with Lucky Boy?
Yeah, I mean, for the sake of keeping things moving, I'm gonna go with Lucky Boy. Yeah,
I can tell this is hurting you, so we'll keep keep going.
It breaks my brain to because I always feel like it's like music's not boxing. Like we don't have to choose. And I did this on another podcast, and I was twice as difficult about it because at least we're staying in one lane.
Yeah.
All right. So now we have Lucky Boy.
We've got Lucky Boy contending against now Rainbow Man by Busy P.
Oh wait, Pop the Glock is here.
Yeah.
Look at that. Is that not the most beautiful woman you've ever seen? I'll be honest, she almost looked like that when I saw her live the first time.
I love it.
And you had pink vinyl. I don't know. If you're talking about just having the record, like this is kind of a cooler record than the Lucky Boy record, but I mean, you know, Mehdi for sure. But yeah, back to the subject at hand. Rainbow Man versus Lucky Boy?
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Like, what are we even talking about? Again, you're talking about an album versus like a song. But Rainbow Man is sick. I love the art on Rainbow Man. I play that a lot. What is it? It's like a timid like 108, right?
Yeah, mid tempo for sure.
What a fucking cool song,
Hmm.
man. And I was, I was rarely a midnight or later DJ. I was like a 10, 11 o'clock set guy. So like a 108 banger for me. But I also could play a lot of the Mehdi record. I couldn't play Signatune as much. I would play like I Am Somebody, and I would play like Boggin and stuff. But let's keep it moving, and I'm gonna go with Rainbow Man because at this point I just want to make sure everyone gets their props. And that was definitely Busy P's best record.
I would
To
agree.
protect and entertain. I love To Protect and Entertain because how special it was. He didn't tell us about that record, and he brought it and he played at our 1 year anniversary of Banana Split, and he played the Crookers remix, and it said, met up Busy P at the Magic Castle, went to LAX, got in no hassle. DJ AM, Steve Aoki. It's I don't care that I wasn't mentioned. It's fine. There was no room for it. It's nice just to be nominated, but it was but the energy when that happened, he like rewound it and did it again, and we are like, "What is it?" He's like, "It's the Crookers." Like we hadn't even heard the original. It was the
Wow.
Crookers remix. So it was like there were so many layers of it, and that's when we kind of knew that we were on an equal playing field now, and that these were like our brothers because they were talking about us on a song.
Yeah.
And
Wow. I should have thrown
and
that
it was
in
all
there.
about LA, and they had Merce on it. They didn't talk about New York. I'm telling you, it was a different. It was. You're right. It was important because that was what I came out here to do. Like I saw how boring it was out here, and I saw the excitement that was happening, and I'm glad I got to be a part of all that with those guys.
I love it.
So where do we go from
We've
Rainbow
got
Man?
Rainbow Man going up against Waters of Nazareth.
Waters of Nazareth, guy? Come on,
I
you're
figured.
talking about justice.
I
Like
figured.
you're talking about the record that changed it all. Like that's a perfect EP, front to back. You can listen to it still and not get bored. They remixed themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That shit is crazy. Because we're
Yep.
talking about the first EP. We're not talking about the gold. We're talking about the silver one, right?
Yep. Show me.
Right, so there's Rainbow Man. We get rid of Rainbow Man, and then now we're moving on to the OG Waters of Nazareth,
Yeah.
which is just a beautiful record. Like it said everything it needed to say. It was like we like Metallica,
Yep.
you know.
And we're gonna make
So what
this
did that
louder
Waters-
than
oh, no, this
anything
didn't-
that
this-
can be pressed.
This didn't have a remix on it. Okay, so this had original Waters of Nazareth, Let There Be Light demo version. And I don't even know what Carb Pates is. I'll be honest, maybe I haven't listened to this EP in so long.
Yeah, because the gold one had the Errol remix, right?
That's the one. And
Yeah.
that's where we all got our drums to make everything we made for the next 5 years.
Was the Errol remix?
Yeah, which were the drums that he had got from doing like a Soul Wax remix. I think they're the New York Excuse drums. But we all, like, most of us had this same folder. And, they were chopped up as French kick and French snare. But it's just the beginning of that, like, spawn genres, bro.
All right, we're gonna do one more here because I think this is a good finishing track. So Waters of Nazareth. There it is, the gold version. And this is going up
the
against
Justice remix.
Gare du
So
Nord,
good.
Carte Blanche. We'll go track and
I mean,
track.
still Waters of Nazareth, but dude, Carte Blanche was, that was I feel like that's the end of the first wave of the golden era of Ed Banger. You know what I mean? I feel like after Carte Blanche, they changed the artwork even, right? Like,
Yeah, it was so
is
many.
that when you stop having the thing? I mean, I think it's still So Me, but you get those kind of like, is that like when it's like you get like Boston Bun and all this stuff that's like a little more.
I
Oh
think
no, you still get Breakbot and everything after that. But man, Carte Blanche, that to me is a very special record because by the time that came out, I was very close with Rattan and I knew Mehdi very well. And I was in London in 2010 to play Fabric for the first and only time. And we had Riton at LAX, and he had never been to LA. And back then, you know, we all just kind of like wanted to be around each other. And I remember he played, and I was like, "Oh, it's your first time in LA. Like, what are you doing tomorrow?" He's like, "Well, like, I really would like to get some like LA weed and like see the beach." And I was like, "Well, where are you staying? Like, I'll come pick you up." And we went out on a Monday, and he's like, "Dude, I don't even know you. Like, why are you so cool?" I'm like, "I've been playing your records for like 5 years, and you're like, you're awesome." I was like, "It's fucking Monday, and I'm a DJ. You know what I mean? Like, let's become best friends." And it was like a beautiful day. Like we did like a 6-hour drive, from West Hollywood to Malibu to the valley, and then back down through downtown, and just smoking joints the whole time, and like listening to old dance records. And like Riton is just a beautiful person. I love the success that he continues to have, because he's such a great guy and such a talented musician. And so I was in London, and he put me on his night at Fabric. And now I realize I'm getting this timeline fucked up, because Carte Blanche was on that. So it was the time in London that I was there before, and I wasn't playing at Fabric. I don't know where I was playing. But I hit up Riton, and he goes, "Yo, come meet me at this bar. I'm with Mehdi." And I was like, "Oh shit." And I went and met up with them, and I was like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "We're working on an EP. We have a project for Ed Banger that's us together." And like, dude, those guys together, they were so close, and they understood each other really musically. I don't want to say much more, because I don't know. I got to be around it a little, and it was really beautiful. And then when I did get to come play at Fabric, it was Riton's night in Room 2, and it was the first ever Carte Blanche DJ set.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's on my YouTube, and they brought the 909 out. They were wearing each other's like faces on their shirts, and like it was really cool. They played like 5 or 6 original songs, and it was just like it was like collaborations that aren't forced. Like, it was such a natural collaboration, and the songs they were making were so cool that they didn't even put their names on it. It was Carte Blanche. Like, it didn't say Riton and DJ Mehdi. And I remember Sammy Bananas and I took that into account when we did a French touch style record for Fool's Gold under 15. It's called Tomorrow. And I was like, well, we should put, you know, Mike B and Sammy Bananas on it. And Mehdi had just passed, and Sammy said, you know, those guys didn't put their name on Carte Blanche. Like, it should exist on its own thing. And I was like, the end of conversation. I was like, let's do everything that those guys did.
Yeah.
And I still playing Gare du Nord for a young crowd that has never heard it, who don't understand what's happening when that train sound comes in, and don't. And for me, I was just like, oh, and they sampled Brand Nubian, you know, like it was really exciting. And that was my friend Blue Gem's like favorite record. Rest in peace. Like, I have so many special moments with that record. But I played it. I played it at Gabriella this summer. I played it a lot in the last couple years, actually.
It's so good.
It's just like, it's so unique, and it can kind of fit in. You can use it to like get out of like high energy stuff. You can use it to get into high energy stuff. You can use the breakdown. It gets kind of right into the business. It's got that Ed Banger thing without being, you know, too over the top. It doesn't go full slow adult. And it's like it was about them combining what they were good at. And it was called Gare du Nord because, you know, Riton was coming in from London in the underground train, and then Mehdi was going to London from Paris, so they were always at Gare du Nord, which is, you know, the French Paris's train stop.
That makes sense.
It's probably obvious to a lot of people now that I say it out loud, but to the people that don't know what that record is, like, yeah. Well, now that we wrap it up there, I see, like, we did a whole like chronology. Like, those are mostly the best Ed Banger records.
Those are some of my favorites, and I think like
but you're skipping over like the real pop hits though, like you know, the breakbots.
I'm talking
like
to
you.
You
know that record is worth like $100. I stopped collecting at that point, and I never had like Fantasy or anything like that on vinyl.
Yeah.
And I was going to play at Dante's last year, and I was like, yeah, like how do I not have that? Like, I want to play that shit. Like, it's a hit. It kills everywhere. It was like $120 or something like that. I was like,
yeah, I definitely sort of left off some of the like the Breakbots records that like I think Garden Nor was even before like Boston Bun's first EP, like the House Calls stuff. So it's like
Breakbot is second generation. He was around. He was doing like unofficial Justice remixes on like Disco Bell and stuff like that. And he always had a great sound. But I remember when they signed him to Ed Banger and he was the new guy, like it made so much sense.
Yeah.
And he still carries that torch, and he's the man, dude. Shout out to Breakbot. I love him. I love that guy so much.
He's a great guy. I got to sing Mr. Brightside on karaoke in front of him when he played at Kiss Kiss, and he was, I think either concerned or impressed with the amount of animation that I put into the performance. But yeah,
he'll never tell you how he really feels.
Yeah,
the amount of jokes that guy cracks about other people when I'm around, I don't even want to know what they say about me when I leave, but man, me and them in particular have had some like really beautiful times, man. Like those are some very special guys. So musically talented, so like naturally sexy, but like so wildly nerdy and easy to talk to. Like they're just like, what a couple of hunks those guys are.
The hunks. We'll get them back here soon. All right, my friend, we have come to the end. I have one last question for you, and I sort of mentioned it earlier. This is a question that our past guest Neverdull left for you, and after we go through this answer, you're gonna leave a question for our next guest. So I'll jump in. Neverdull is wondering, what is on your current hospitality rider?
I've had the same hospitality rider for a long time. It is 1 bottle of tequila, 1 bottle of rum. They don't always honor the second bottle. Assorted sodas. Sparkling water, flat water, coconut water. Oh. I've been copying and pasting it for so long, I don't even know really what it says. It's relatively simple. I think it's 12 beers. I'm not a dick about it.
Yeah.
I think I had like cold pressed juice on there, and I was like, I don't know. But yeah, that's what you need, right? You need tequila for the alcoholics. You need rum for me because I'm a sweet boy, and then I need sodas because I like to get stoned after I'm done DJing. You got to have water to hydrate, and then you got to have bubble water to mix with the tequila, and then you got to have beers for the assholes.
There you go. It's tried and true. It's the basic. I see hand towels a lot on DJ riders. I've always found that interesting. I can get that,
but that's on my tech rider.
Okay. Yeah,
because I don't need that in the trailer. I need that on stage because I'm fat and hot and sometimes under the influence, and there's a lot of sweat. So I put clean towels because I'd seen people like throw bar rags out there. That was one of those improvements I was talking about. It used to just say towels. Now it says clean towels.
I love it. That's a great answer.
So now I have to leave a question for someone else.
I would love to hear it. What would you like to ask our next guest?
What is your default effect setting on a Pioneer mixer?
I love it. This is really getting into it. What's yours?
And my addendum is, because if it's reverb, you're a pussy. Everyone just whenever I go back to back with people, it's always on reverb, and I'm like, you're killing me here. Like I don't need everything to sound like it's about to build up. I want everything to sound freaky and echoey and dubby.
What do you go with? Echo?
I'm a spiral guy.
Yeah.
All the echo since the 800 is garbage, in my opinion. They nailed Pioneer 800 is still the mixer that's on my tech rider, and it hasn't been honored in 14 years. But it's still what I have here. It's the perfect mixer.
The 800? Wow.
800. It's the first one that was all black, and it had a harmonic effect where you could change the pitch. But it was like 8-bit.
Right.
Which was very useful for me if you're playing something with vocals to make it go. And I recently had a dinner with the head of Pioneer DJ, and he was telling me about the new mixer, and I was like, can you do the 800 again? Like, where's the harmonic button? He was like, yeah, the sound quality. I was like, I play fucking MP3s, my guy. I don't give a fuck. I don't have room for apes. But yeah, what is your default? What's your default?
I'm an Echo guy, but I've never really understood the difference between
Echo's
spiral and Echo. I know a lot of people. I see spiral a lot when I jump on the deck.
Spiral right, it changes pitch.
Right.
So with Echo, you just get you get a delay, like a da, 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 da,
Yeah.
da. With spiral, with spiral, people are like, why does your shit say 428 BPM? It's because like you can hit these crazy crescendos and do like My Bloody Valentine type shit. If you keep pressing it and turning it up and down and fucking with the filters, you can make it go like
yeah.
Sound booth guys don't care for it when I do that, and they're like, that was like some really crazy frequencies, and I'm like, I thought this was rock and roll, baby. But we should say something about our show, right?
We could talk about it. This is definitely more of a conversation, but I mean, I feel like we're setting up. You set me up to like. I have to really make sure I come correct with your hospitality rider now, and those towels are a must. It seems like I feel like Neverdell really put me in this spot. So I think like we'll have that all
in
ready
LA.
for you.
In LA, I bring a towel in my bag.
I love it. No, I mean, I'm really excited
we're at Midnight Lovers, right?
We're basically we're at the 6th Street Bridge spot. Yeah, where Midnight Lovers operates. So we'll be
we're at Anderson.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, I mean that's my home away from home, dog. I'll go in the back and get a towel. Like, we're all good. I love it there. Shout out to Rolando.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're doing a show, right? It's Stereo Punks presents Etienne de Crécy. I'm going back to back with my man Rafael Futura, and it's March 14th. And we didn't really talk about Etienne, but man, talk about a legend and a pioneer of sound, and right, because he's motor based, right? Is it him and Zadar?
Yeah, I think they opened it together. I mean, the Cube shows like in the what was that, the 2007?
Super discount. I mean, the Cube was beautiful. If motherfuckers knew those songs. And he didn't even play the songs. It was like different versions of the songs. For me, it was incredible, and I love to watch it. But and he got a pretty good slot at Coachella, and was very well attended considering how not recognizable the music was. But and that time was cool because he was living in Silver Lake. I used to run into him all the time, like crossing the street at Sunset Junction, and he would come play for us at Dre's all the time. Super cool dude. You did that show with them?
Yeah,
last year.
We've booked him twice now. We did it first time. It was just him, and then his agent was like, "Boom Bass wants to play," and I was like, "Hell yeah, dude, this is amazing."
It was Etienne, Boom Bass, and then
DJ Falcon was the next time. Yeah, they came back the next 6 months later.
3 of those guys, man, those are just some cool motherfuckers that have made some great music, that love to DJ, that are not purists. Like they were playing like they were playing like Clooney records and stuff that night. I loved to see it.
Yeah, that was
playing like
Boom Bass for sure. He played like this crazy edit when we had him at Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I remember he played this like crazy Kendrick Lamar edit, and I was like, "Where did you get that?" It like came out of nowhere too. Like he was playing like some French touch. Like he went from like Bob Sinclair into this Kendrick edit, and like it felt like the room flipped. Like he like just turned everybody upside down. It was unreal.
That Boom Boss is a real fucking DJ, man. I mean, he was La Funk Mob. They were on Mowax in the mid 90s. And that La Funk Mob was the shit. And then what were they in between La Funk Mob and Cassius? They were something else, right? They were.
Yeah,
like something else that was like not quite acid jazz, not quite French touch.
Yeah,
I forget what it was, but I mean, those guys are innovators. Rest in peace, Zadar. Boom Boss, I feel like is a little. People don't know enough about what those guys did and how important they were. But that's that hierarchy I was talking about. When I played in Paris in 2013, I stayed a couple extra nights because there was a show on a Sunday night at a place called La Belleville and the lineup was DJ Gilbert, the Dimitri from Paris, Club Cheval, Mehdi and Busy P, and Cassius. And when I got there early, it was like the Club Cheval guys were in the back kind of holding court, you know, and they had joints and they had girls and it was blah, blah, blah. And then like Gilbert and Dimitri got there and then like the Club Cheval guys kind of like, you know, tucked in a little and were like a little more quiet like when those guys got there. And then obviously when the Ed Banger guys came in, like everyone was just like, would you like our seats? Like, what do you need? You know, and then... But when Zadar walked in the room, just everybody shut the fuck up and was like, okay, like, here he is. Like, this is, like, tell us a fucking story.
Yeah, dude.
Because also at that point, he was producing Phoenix and the Beastie Boys and I mean, I forget how, I mean, he was a huge, people I don't think really realize, like, the heights he was rising to in rock and roll, man. Like, just a visionary producer and just one of the sweetest, most like musical people I've ever met. I didn't know him well, but like we had a couple email interactions and one of the last remixes he ever did was for my guy Oliver Dollar and it was really good. And anytime he would always leave feedback for Play It Down records. He's like checked his promos. I never know how guys like that have time to do it, but he was that kind of guy.
Wow.
And like I think I would like to see more of that in the scene. Just I think because that scene is so tight knit and everyone knows each other, they don't think about it. Like they just know who deserves the respect and like who gets what, and no one has to explain themselves because they're all doing it together, you know?
Yeah. The unspoken.
And I would love to see more of that here because, you know, there's so many people who I taught to DJ who are huge guys now that it's not like I need to hear from them or say anything, but they're somewhere in between like an occasional lunch or just giving me, I don't know, $10,000 like would be nice. But there's like, I feel like, you know, there's just there's no just like, not that there's none, there should be more respect. And I think that you know, I feel like I see the people that you book and the lineups you put together, and I feel like you understand that, and so it's cool, and especially to put them in an environment like Kiss Kiss, which is a real club. And I love that we're doing this at Under the Bridge because it's like it's got, you know, it's legit, but it's still vibey and feels like a warehouse, and
it's got a lot of history.
It's going to be a great show. And you know, Etienne's going to play some crazy shit, man.
I can't wait, guys. So, well, I want to say thank you, Mike, for doing this.
Of course, man. Thank you.
We will see you soon. That's on air. Ciao.
Yes, sir.